Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle, Desrochers and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The Outer Realm in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. The Outer Realm is a very popular show hosted by Michelle Desrochers and Amelia Pisano, which boasts millions of listeners each week who are well known for and have been complimented on their very laid-back, roundtable style of interviewing. Together, this dynamic duo brings you the best of the best with guests from around the world who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, esoteric, and other areas of high strangeness, and more. So go to podcastawards.com to nominate The Outer Realm in the category Best Female Hosted Podcast. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee, who have been a part of our journey since the very beginning. So thank you, Folgers. We appreciate you so very much. Also, very grateful and honored to Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for his contribution of his time, his music, and his voice for our intro and outro. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite listening platforms. Big thank you as well to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind all of our banners and logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. He does phenomenal commission pieces, but specializes primarily in the horror genre. So yay. So tonight, woohoo, part two of our haunted travel segment. God, the last one just went like crazy. I mean, crazy in the archives. Yeah. So we thought, you know what? Just throw another one in there. I know. Yeah. Look at everybody just chiming in.
Connecticut, Ontario. Hope you're safe, Ruth. Hello, Jamie.
I know.
Hi, Adrian.
Connecticut. Dolly.
I love Connecticut. So pretty. Yeah. Talk about haunted places.
I know.
Hi, Dolly. Yes, Connecticut is super haunted.
It is. I love it.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, so major thunderstorms just rolling through all of southern Ontario and Ontario right now, I hear. So I hope you're doing okay, Ruth. I hear certain sections are without power and lots of rain coming. And I mean, normally that would be great for a show, just to sit and listen and go.
Yeah, but it can take us right offline if it comes back in, because here it got sunny, and Michelle and I were communicating back and forth because we're like, are we going to be able to go on air? Because it got really loud.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding when I say you could hydroplane your car on the road within 5 minutes of the downpour.
It was pretty bad.
So it was pretty bad, like inches and inches of water, like right off the bat within less than 5 minutes, and really hard. And south of us earlier today, they got hail like golf balls. So that's damaging everything. Yep. All good here in Exeter. Watch the storm from the back deck. Good. Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Us too, Dolly, with the lightning. The lightning and the thunder was amazing.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Wow, really getting slammed all over the place.
There's a few places in the States that flash flooded this week. So, but the sad part of all of this is this is not reaching our wildfires. So please keep them in your prayers and your thoughts, because we lost a pilot and a firefighter all within days of each other. And one of them was only 19 years old.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's
And
very
he was fighting this fire in his own community up north. So
sad.
north of us, meaning north, like way up in the territories. And our thoughts and our sympathies go out to their families. And
Yeah, absolutely.
there's nothing else we could really say about that. But
No. So we'll leave it right there.
yeah.
Because you're going to get me on a whole other track.
Oh, no. I just wanted to mention that because everybody's been
Yeah.
asking. So I thought that give it out here so it's better than answering 10 messages.
I agree.
But
I agree. There we go. Let's put up our little banner thingy there.
yeah.
So, it is that time of year, and a lot of people are already traveling, and I don't make it on social media a whole lot, but I do have a lot of stuff that comes up in the feed, and it's always nice to see all these people are going out and they're actually looking for haunted places to stay. Just warms my heart, because whenever I personally travel, I want to be in haunted places, and I will stay in places that are as old as old as can be, old as I can find, haunted preferably. And I specifically look for places like that. So it's nice to see that it's not just researchers or investigators that are going, but it's just, people, even families and couples who are going out to try to have that experience. And with that being said, I wanted to talk about an experience that my daughter shared with me when she was staying in New Orleans. And I wish I could remember the hotel. If you guys know the name of it, just chime in, because I'm just having a bit of a brain.
Or if you're listening, sweetheart, text mommy.
That's it, honey. Just text your mother and tell her.
Text mommy and let her know.
So she went on a ghost tour, and of course, the woman was amazing and gave all kinds of stories. And they stopped up in front of this old hotel down in the Strip, and the story goes that this couple went in to stay in this hotel, and they asked for the most haunted room in this hotel, which is it's just notorious for being ridiculously haunted. We did a whole segment on New Orleans before on the Gray Zone, and I mean, I should have just pulled that up, because
God,
people just swarm to New Orleans. If I have a minute, I'll go in and I'll try to look for it. But this hotel was just known to be haunted. So this couple went in, they spent the night, they got up in the morning, they were really disgruntled. They're like, nothing happened. We feel like we've been scammed, the whole 9 yards. So I think it was like weeks later is how the story went, maybe even longer. They went through their their photographs that they had taken from the trip, like we all do. Sometimes it takes me 2 years to go through some of my photos. I'm like, what the hell is that in the background?
You scanned them, but you don't really look.
Exactly. Well, you don't really know, because
like, does my hair look good? Great.
Yeah, you didn't really experience it right off the bat, right? So they found one picture out of all the pictures they had taken that blew their minds, and enough that they called the hotel with apologies. So it would appear that while they were sleeping, their camera took a photo of them pointing down from the ceiling with their camera. Can you imagine?
Hello.
I know. So,
but are we sure it's a spirit and not that someone in the hotel is like playing a joke and saying, hey, we'll get you?
Well, they'd have to be hanging off the ceiling. And, these buildings, because I've seen a picture of this hotel, which should make me realize even more what the heck the name is. And these are old places with like 10, 12 foot high ceilings. So, man, they'd have to be hanging from the rafters or something.
Bunkers out there, because we just did a whole damn show on that. So
I know, right? So, so anyway, something took a photo of them with their camera while they were asleep, and they did not find this thing for like weeks or even, months onward. I don't know if it's a Fairchild House. I don't know. I wish I did. I'm going to have to ask my daughter about it. And then if you guys remind me sometime, maybe the next time we do a Q&A, I'll see if I can get an answer for you. But it was just like what? So
that's crazy.
If I can find it here.
That would freak anybody out. Even someone looking for that experience would be freaked out by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'd be freaked out by that.
Here. Haunted travels.
I
Hold on, let me
I
just
don't
see.
look for haunted places. I look for butlers and room service, but yet it seems to find me.
I don't even know.
So
I'm just
I
trying to
can't
find
tell
this
you a
thing.
hotel that I've been in that I have
Okay.
not had an experience. It would be easier to
Oh.
give you a list of.
Okay. I'm going to try this again, people.
Did you find it?
Yeah, hold on.
She's had a lot of experiences, so.
Oh, my daughter's been like
Yeah.
everywhere and had great experiences. You know, I mean, we talked about her when she was in Italy last time. Go to Bavaglia. No, don't. Well,
Yeah.
okay, if you can get a ride. No, wait, don't. Just
No,
like
she'd be
me being
behind
that
bars
guy.
still if she did get on there.
No,
I couldn't
know.
believe how, and they would have locked her up in like a hazmat suit and room.
Okay, one second. I'm on New Orleans. I'm just trying to see. There's a place called, since we're streaming out of New Orleans, let's just take like a minute and do this. How about that? Because
That sounds good.
I brought it up, and
We
if
love
anything
New
rings a bell,
Orleans.
everybody just let me know. Hey Jade, hello Lisa. Okay,
Hello.
so
Oh, Dolly said, "Is it the Fairchild House?"
yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to see if there's anything here that's actually like a hotel. So there's the Sultan's Palace. Okay, so built in the 1800s, it was a home of a sultan, obviously, very wealthy man with multiple wives and children. He had a harem of women and many young boys that were held there against his will. We may even have tackled this before. Neighbors complained about his mysterious habits of partying with opium and torture, no less.
Ooh.
The palace's biggest mystery was the Sultan's demise. He was buried alive in the courtyard after his family and harem were hacked to pieces in a bloodbath by an unknown perpetrator. Today, his angry spirit is thought to be responsible for unusual noises, loud music, strong incense smell, as well as unwelcome advances on past female residents.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is it him or is it the person who?
I don't even know. There's stories of here's the one where it might be. And again, I have to find out where it is. I know Joe would know it. The Lalaurie Mansion, referred to by the locals simply as the Haunted House, named for its owner, Madame Marie Dauphine Lalaurie. 1830, a fire broke out, exposing parts of the home where 7 slaves had been found in chains, starving. Moans from the servants are said to resonate through the home even to this day. So I don't know, but this is crazy. I know.
I remember that one because I think I even researched that for something, and they've done shows on that Lalaurie one.
Well, I can't access that app through here, Dolly. Sorry, I can't access it from the computer. Because I sent you a list, but I can't get it on that one.
Can't get it. Yeah,
it's unfortunate. But if you can send it to my email, that would probably be better, and then we can all explore it together. But Joe has talked about this one, Jean Lafitte's old absinthe house. Andrew Jackson allegedly met the outlaw pirate here to discuss plans for the British attacked in the War of 1812. He agreed to free Lafitte's army of pirates if they in turn agreed to fight in the Battle of New Orleans. Originally built in 1752, destroyed in 1788 in the Great Friday Fire that ravaged the city within hours. The current building was reconstructed in 1806. Gosh, it's old.
They've been through so much.
Yeah. Stories for ghost sightings include Jackson himself, as well as the spirits of Marie Laveau. Wow. Yeah. Benjamin Butler, who used to periodically visit. Other ghost sightings include a woman in a long white dress, a child running around up on the 3rd floor. Many visitors experience sudden drops in temperature, doors opening, closing, chairs and bottles moving around at the bar, hearing whispers that come from nowhere. So that was sort of interesting right there.
There's so many. They've been through so much, and it's so ancient, New Orleans.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's crazy.
It's wild, though. So one second, I'm just going to go and dig out.
No problem.
Hold on.
Really, anywhere in Europe you go, you can find it. And especially on the coast. If you're staying within the US or Canada, any coast, where you've got, especially the East Coast, where you have tons and tons of ships that have come through all the way back from the Vikings to the immigrants and the Titanic off the East Coast. You're going to find a lot of haunted places, a lot of battles on the East Coast.
Okay, 1 second. We're going to present this so we can all see it together. How about that?
Yes.
Okay, that way Amelia and I
Yay.
can comment. You guys can comment. Thank you, Dolly.
Thank you, Dolly.
Right here, I believe. That looks good. I don't know. All right, here we are. Okay, so the New Orleans most haunted hotels. We're looking at the Bourbon Orleans Hotel. So
okay, something just touched my leg.
Yeah,
it wasn't the dog.
Do you need a moment?
No, I'm okay. I just wanted to make sure. Sorry, it just really freaked me out. It was a hard touch. That wasn't. He's not even in this room. Okay.
We might want to deal with that
one go. See what happens.
Deal with that one.
Yeah.
Our favorite haunted hotel in New Orleans, the Haunted Bourbon Hotel, is right in the heart of the French Quarter. This sounds like it could be it. It's home to more ghosts than perhaps any other hotel in New Orleans, from the ghosts of the octoroon mistresses to the ghosts of children running in the halls. It has it all. If you're looking for a haunted stay, this is the place. I'm kind of wondering. The Hilton Riverside, New Orleans. Okay.
So pretty.
Yeah, New Orleans is a living city, has a mind of its own. It breathes. Oh, yes. When you're there, you can feel its pulse. Blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't mean that everything in the city is alive. I love it. The Troubadour Hotel in New Orleans. See, this would be right in the French Quarter. So I'm wondering. Dolly, your Monday guest is asking for a link to watch the show. Can you maybe just send him a link? I would really appreciate it. Thank you, if you don't mind. The Jury Plaza, the haunted Astor Crown Plaza. Okay, so the very haunted Hotel of New Orleans. These look like good potentials. The favorite, see, this is something I would stay in. This, like over here.
Yeah,
the Pavilion. The favorite haunted hotspot.
I tour it. I wouldn't sleep there.
Oh, I wouldn't a minute. With rumors of ties to the notorious jazz-loving Axeman, you won't be getting much sleep in the spine-chilling establishment. And here's located New Orleans Central Business District, one of New Orleans' most luxurious haunted hotels. The stories of ghosts which haunted the Pavilion are well known, and seems like every floor has a ghost of its own. Perhaps the most haunted rooms are the suites, which are incredibly decadent, apparently very haunted. So I would have to find out. See, this one would be cool. The Andrew Jackson Hotel in the French Quarter. I wonder if that was good.
I would investigate overnight, but I know I wouldn't get any sleep there.
The Lafitte, here's the Lafitte guest house.
Yeah.
You know what? I am like all down for that because, stop. There we go. Thanks, Dolly. Because realistically, that's the kind of places I like to stay in, and I do. I love things that are really old, and I love the history. I like to absorb all of that energy when I'm there, you know?
Yeah. I think it's just overwhelming for me with my empath ability. I think it's just too much. Honestly, yeah, I hope your ghost. Well, my dog is here now, so let's make sure it's not him. Because I haven't had anything, but he wasn't here when that happened. That was a real, like, it wasn't furry. It was a brush.
Right.
But
right.
I have been seeing my dad a lot the last few days, popping in and out, and like amazingly in and out. And I didn't say anything during the show yesterday because I wanted them to just give their opinions, but he's been showing himself unbelievably with his face, my dad, where I don't even question that it's him.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at him, I'm not half asleep. I'm fully awake.
Right.
I am noticing it more. in
Right.
the evening and at night, because it's just easier because it's a white mist. But anyways,
Right.
yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was him. I wasn't scared.
Nothing like
So,
catching your attention.
well, yeah, because I
that.
literally had to go down and feel,
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
what the hell, right? I thought maybe
Yeah.
he, like, the dog brushed me with a toy or something, but I'm turning the flashlight on. He's not here. But
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me if it wouldn't surprise me with my dad. I'm not uncomfortable. I'm calm.
Right. But
I'm
that's
good.
the way you have to be. It's the way you
Yeah.
have to be.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're going to move out of New Orleans. And here's another favorite place that people like to go. I've never been. Bubbles, I think it'd be fun. But
Mhm.
it's Tombstone, Arizona.
Oh, I would love to go there.
Right?
I would love to
Oh.
spend a couple weeks in
Oh.
Arizona, period.
Oh, yeah.
I would
mean,
have to go to Sedona. I'd have to go to Tombstone. There's so many things to see in Arizona. It's so spiritual.
it
And the
is.
Rock. I would love to just sit there. If you can guarantee me I won't get hit
Yeah.
by a scorpion or a rattlesnake, I would
I'm
love
good
to
with
just
not.
lay on those red
I'm good with
rocks.
that not happening. Just
Yeah,
saying.
I would be okay with
Um,
taking a hike as long as I had, like a tour guide to take,
Right.
like, they know what to do kind of
Well,
thing.
for sure. It's just like you get the tour, and at least you get the stories and everything that go with it,
not
which
just
is
the
interesting.
stories. You get the person that knows how to wrangle a
Yeah.
rattlesnake.
Yeah, that's true.
Hi,
Okay,
Chris. It's okay.
let's go with town sightings before I want to tackle the Birdcage Theater and the Orchid Corral. You know, the favorites. But
Yes.
let's
Yeah.
talk about town sightings. So the
Yes.
streets themselves are said to be the pathways of many lost souls. It would
Mhm.
include Marshal Fred White, who was accidentally shot October 28th, 1880 by Curly Bill Brocious. I love these names.
I
While
know.
Curly Bill Brocious.
They're all outlaws, though.
They're awesome. While trying
Yeah.
to disarm him from shooting up the town, White
Yeah.
was the first marshal of Tombstown.
Yeah.
He is said to haunt the street in front of the shooting site, which was at the time an empty lot, by the way, to where the famous Birdcage Theater was built on a year later. The town suffered two terrible fires, one in 1881 and one in 1882. Many areas were wiped out. More than 40 men lost their lives, and the
Oh.
crowded saloons and brothels that burned to the ground. Another
Oh,
cowboy
my.
wearing a long black frock coat has been seen a number of occasions crossing the road near the site where Virgil Earp was ambushed. The spirit never seems to make it across the street, hence why many folks believe it may be Virgil himself. A woman in the long white dress has been seen in the streets, and
White
legend says
dress
she's the
again.
mother looking for her child who died
Aw.
from yellow fever in 1880. Devastated that she took her own life. But
Yeah.
another version states that she was a brothel madam who was hung and continues to stalk the street from her looking for her executioners.
That's a polar
So,
opposite.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, man, that's pretty. I don't know, right there. But it's a typical history of
Western.
the
Yeah. Very
the
Western
rough, wild
story.
West.
Yeah.
You know.
And
Uh,
it was vicious. It was
oh
vicious.
yeah,
It was savage,
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Everybody was
absolutely.
trying to get land, and people were trying to save their land from the white man and all
Yeah.
that. Like, there was so much bloodshed. And
Oh,
what law did they
absolutely.
have? A sheriff in one town and maybe 30 people and
Well, when
one
everybody's got a
person?
gun, it's kind of
It's really tough.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
tough.
It
You know,
is.
and it was fine, like, in a lot of
Mhm.
places. If you shot and killed someone, you just left them in the desert for the animals
Oh
to feed
yeah.
off them. We didn't have DNA. There was no
I
DNA.
know.
No
Problem
no
solved. Problem
no
solved.
criminal crime, no crime scene
Yeah.
unit coming in here.
No, it's
So,
true.
things were
Problem
solved with.
solved.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ghosts in the far west and
Mhm,
Montana as well, tons and
mhm.
tons.
Oh my gosh, we've done so many clearings out there. The
Oh,
Birdcage Theater. This is one I'd really like to see. It, of course, all the paranormal shows,
they've done
cover
it,
it.
yeah.
So yeah,
But
um,
if you're in the city,
yeah.
go stop in, yeah.
Said to be the most haunted place in town, opened in 1881 with a reputation of being the wildest place in Tombstone. Between 1881 and 1889, it never closed its doors and provided
Wow.
gambling, drinking, and other vices. The
Mhm.
saloon was the scene of 26 deaths, and 140 bullet holes riddled the building and can still be seen today. It opened as a museum in 1934, and many of the old legends of the past still stalk the old saloon. But yet the OK Corral itself, which is famous for its 30-second shootout, while
Yeah.
only killing Frank and Tom Leary and Billy Clanton, who are believed to still haunt the area. So, I mean, you think about it, this is the big shootout, and it's really not, you would expect that it would be a lot more. But it goes to show you, I think we get back to what we were talking about with our guests, with Elliot Van Dusen and Joe Wash last night, the tulpa effect, the mindset.
Mhm.
Like, are some of these places, because they're expected to be, so active and
Like
so
Anne
haunted?
Boleyn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's a big
That
one
one's
too.
yeah,
But
that one you don't really know.
well, Anne Boleyn, if I'm not mistaken, did we talk about that on the last show where um in the Tower of London, this is going
Yeah.
back a really long time
She's
ago, where that
seen
guard,
carrying her head. Yeah.
well, no, even besides that, one of the guards, I mean, like security guards, I guess at night, they were going back a really long time ago, like probably 50 years. He heard all this commotion. He saw these lights, and he
Yes.
peeked into the chapel area and saw a procession of really elite people in gowns. I mean, we're talking back the time of Henry VIII, and they are walking in a procession, and she was there as
I
well,
bel
fully
I
full, like
believe
had
that, but
everything.
I think that it's hard for me to believe anyone who's gone to the Tower of London, if they do get that tour, because first of all, you're with a huge group during the day. They're not doing these tours at night. And
Mhm.
secondly, I think that some people might just think that they saw something that they didn't. That's
Or
the
was it
skeptic in me.
residual?
Yeah,
A
I think
residual
no, I
procession.
believe this with the guard. I
Yeah.
believe that. That's a
Well,
huge one.
there are very few people in there. It's not as big as a lot of people, think it
No,
is,
but
but
this whole thing that Anne Boleyn can be seen carrying her head in the
she is. They
hallway.
have a team of investigators, or they did at one time, that went in there to calm her down. She
I
she
I believe it. I don't believe that everyone sees it.
agreed.
I believe that it's
Yeah,
there, but I think some people,
yeah.
it's in their head and they think, "Oh, I heard that.
Be
I must have
because you
been
hear the
her."
stories too,
Yeah,
though, right?
that's
So
what
how
I'm
much do
saying,
we
the whole kind of
manifest?
tulpa yeah,
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 I agree. Here's a great question from Adrian.
yeah. I wonder how many vengeful ghosts actually get revenge.
Mm,
It's a really good question because you have to the whole thing is, do they have an attachment? Are they they're obviously stuck, they're grounded,
mhm,
they're vengeful, they're not ascended. So,
mhm.
yeah, that's I don't know. I think they have a lot of fun
And I also think
and
if you're stuck and you're still in the same mindset that you were in when you passed on, if you're angry as heck, you can do a lot of damage.
yes.
If you're looking for somebody, I mean, there are people out there who, if you've wronged somebody and you're the cause for the death, or a family member or anything like that, they will follow you and haunt you. I mean, you get a malevolent enough human spirit, they can do a lot of damage. And
They can
I'll
yeah.
tell you, I've worked with so many families over the last 2 decades, and I mean, I've had women say to me that they've been fully, like, accosted in their sleep
Mhm.
regularly, and their husbands have no recollection. They're in such a sound sleep, they don't even know what's going on. They're like, I
Yep.
don't even remember falling asleep. Like, there's a lot there that goes on that it makes you
Or
wonder what the heck. So something, I believe they do have,
yeah. How
the ability.
many times do you hear someone who has caused an accidental death, whether it be drug or,
Mm,
driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, or accident in a car where it's killed someone, manslaughter, things like that. And
mhm,
you hear them say that they feel haunted by the spirit, but we just brush it off as, oh, well, it's just the guilt, the load of the guilt, because
mhm,
it's something that could have been prevented, especially if you were drinking and driving.
mhm.
You know, so like I have to wonder how many times it is vengeful spirits and not your imagination. This is a polar opposite of the Tower of London
Oh,
for
absolutely.
me. This is
Right.
like not the guilt, but the
Right.
spirit actually coming back because you've ended their life so traumatically.
Well,
And,
sure. Sure.
and
And
with
does
your
that
fear,
spirit even know
they
that they're
grow.
dead?
Yeah, exactly. And
Right?
with your fear, they grow. I think about I was in my car and got hit head on in the rain, and I was expecting my daughter. I was 2 months away
Mm-hmm.
from delivering her. And the seatbelt, the impact was so hard. And this guy pulled out of a bar. And I'm
Mm,
not going to speak as to what city because
right.
there was police officer that was involved who
Mm-hmm.
told him to go home. So that's how I knew that he obviously knew him. Oh,
Mm,
it's raining. He can't see. No, you didn't even give him a breathalyzer. But, anyways,
right.
it was such an impact that I had to go into prenatal care in the hospital, and I had
Mm-hmm.
bruises all across my abdomen.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I got out of that car and went for this driver.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if I had died?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think I'm going to do?
Oh, yeah. Especially
It's
when
your
you're with
baby,
child. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's your baby.
Exactly.
And I went for like his throat. I have a terrible,
Mm,
terrible short.
mhm. No. Don't believe it.
When it comes to someone I love, whether
Right,
it's
of
family or
course.
friends, I have this. I have to pause.
Mm,
I count to 3. So I
right,
wonder how many spirits have not counted to 3 and are
right.
indeed not pausing.
It's very
So I
possible,
think
for sure.
Adrian's made a
Yeah,
really good point.
yeah, yeah,
I think a
it's
lot of
possible. I
them,
mean, I I'd be curious in doing a show on those sort of stories. That might make for some
right?
interesting conversation.
I think so
Um,
too.
Dolly.
Thank you, Adrian. Hi, Dolly. Hello, Dolly. I love that. Do they have a record of all the hauntings in the Tower of London? They probably do, the ones that have been reported.
Well,
Do
they
you
had a
know for sure,
paranormal
Michelle?
team. Yeah, they had a
Yeah.
paranormal team at one point, from what I understand, what I've read anyway, who used to be the ones to take care of that and investigate it. And from what I understand, they had a paranormal team. So it's not like anybody and his brother could just go in there. So I would imagine there is some sort of a record somewhere with the hauntings. And I know that there were tours. I think, like anywhere else, you can go and have ghost tours or things of that nature, or the guides are pretty open about it. Because I know people who've been and they've asked about some of the stories, and you can read about it anywhere.
Yeah, you
The,
could
the
probably
part,
find that
part of the
online.
record is just look at the hauntings of the Tower of London. There are so many.
They probably have a lot
Um,
of public records open.
oh, for sure. I would think
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay.
Okay. Next, we're going to jump into I say, see, here we go. Here's that story. Look at that. How bizarre is that? Okay, let's get into the Tower of London for a minute. Built
Yay.
by William the Conqueror
Yes.
in 1078, 12 years after he conquered the area in
You tell we
1066.
love him. Yeah.
Part of the conquest lineage. Thank you.
Mhm.
It was expanded by the future kings of the 12th and 13th centuries. Still contains the crown jewels of the monarchy. It is
Yeah.
estimated that roughly 400 people. Okay, you want to know if it's haunted? It is estimated that roughly 400 people were tortured and executed there.
Yeah, that's a lot of energy. There's probably a
And
lot of blood in that
and
stone.
this is where I think Richard III did a faux pas, because in 1483, 2 young princes were
Mm.
infamously murdered in their tower, or in the tower. Their
Yep.
deaths unsolved to this very day, even though now I think it is solved now. Like now they know, but
Yes.
from this article they did not. Shadowy figures are seen holding hands. They assume it was the boys, and they drift from room to room as they melt into the walls. Catherine Howard, wife of Henry VIII, is said to be
Yes.
there. Anne Boleyn, also wife of Henry VIII, was imprisoned and beheaded in 1536. She has often been spotted in many different areas of the tower. Her headless torso paces frequently, spotted in the chapel of St. Peter, where she was buried. Now, here's the story, which was interesting. In
Mhm.
1876, so I was wrong. It was a long freaking time ago. A soldier on duty heard commotion in the chapel. He pressed his face to the glass and saw a procession of ghostly lords and ladies, knights in armor, no less, and Anne Boleyn herself.
Yeah, that I believe.
So holy crud! Like
Yeah.
right there. If I was,
Yeah.
if I would love to see something like that. I'd be just
Oh,
like,
me
can I just
too.
sleep here? Can I have a room? Can I just move in? Like,
Yeah. I
you
believe
know,
it exists. I don't, like I said, I don't believe everyone has seen it.
no, I
I
agree.
think they have.
I think that guy back there, got a good
Oh, I
experience.
believe
So I
him.
think it's a matter of, was it residual, or was it what they call intelligent? Let's face it. I mean, we didn't have all the technology back then, so it's not like there was anything that could create an EMF or anything of that nature. So I think you could really, back then, I think things were a little bit
No.
easier
Yeah.
to believe. Here's a good comment
It
by
wasn't
Chris.
until the
Chris,
1900s, sorry, that they started using like flour on the floor to see if
mm,
there were footsteps and
sure,
things like that. So,
yeah,
yeah, you're right about that.
yeah.
Hi, Chris. Chris says, but when you die, you let loose of all human emotions and see the totality of your existence outside your human body. Those who are stuck in the physical are ill.
Well,
Okay.
some are ill, some don't
Some.
know they've passed on, some are just
Yeah.
angry and vengeful. Some are also God-fearing people who would prefer to take their chances and stay here
Yeah.
than fall prey to the conditioning of, you don't have the right to take your own life,
I can
or
tell you there's
you've
probably
broken
more of
those
those.
commandments once
Yeah.
too many times. And
Yeah.
you're sitting there thinking, I think I'll take my chances and stay here. Thank you. So there's a lot of reasons why spirits remain behind, unfortunately, and some spirits
Mhm.
themselves can have attachments and they're held back. Sometimes, what people don't realize, sometimes we as the living can hold back a loved one from moving forward because we tie them here.
I get that
We
question a
grieve,
lot.
yeah, we're grief stricken and they worry about us. They will remain with us. Sometimes you have spirits who, which is sad, they die at the same time, maybe for illness. You have children looking for their parents, vice versa. One doesn't cross, one does. Or sometimes people assume because they're from the same time frame that they see each other. They don't always see each other. So they just wander aimlessly looking for one another. Really sad on
Yeah,
that.
it's funny how what I find when dealing with spirits that were helping ascend to the light,
Mhm,
that often it's not who you think is there
mhm,
to help them cross over. And so, and like Michelle said, they're waiting for someone else, but there
mhm,
is someone that it's almost like a soul choice that's made, and that's who comes.
mhm,
I had, I think, luckily, being a medium, there's two, like, it's bittersweet because you can see everything, but when your loved one is passing away,
mm,
it's hard. But you can see who's in the room and who's, trying to communicate with the family that's there to say, we have him, we love
mhm,
him, we're here for him. And
mhm,
you see, like when I saw who was there for my dad, it really surprised, some of the people surprised me. I
mhm,
wasn't expecting them to
right,
be in that room, but
mhm,
thankfully I could see it. So I was able to tell my brothers about it. And I think it made it easier for all of us. But
mhm.
it's really surprising how many stay behind, especially Christians, because of that whole
Do you
God-fearing thing, like Michelle said. We
Yeah,
have
do you
a
think it's
lot that
because
stay
we're
behind.
God-fearing, or we're
God-fearing, if you're Catholic, you have the commandments and you're like, "Oh, I
mhm,
can't go," you're
because
conditioned
Buddha
to believe that you're not accepted, but yet God loves everyone.
well, I mean, your God is all loving, so
Yes,
why would he behave so
it's
vengefully?
contradicting.
But
Yeah,
you look at Buddhists. I have spoken to different Buddhists. I have friends who are Buddhists at
yeah.
great lengths. And do you know, they're very seldomly haunted because of their
Yeah, no
mindset.
demons, you were
So,
saying.
yeah, it shows you that amount, conditioning, I think, is very, very important. So I don't know. I think it's definitely interesting for sure. Um,
Yeah.
I want the next place I'm going to talk about. This is not like just anybody can go. I mean, anybody can go, but I mean, you would take special training. But is it a travel destination? I think so. Bubbles, we should go next week. Probably be
Oh,
like huffing and puffing and just dying, but whatever.
next
So
week?
Mount Everest. Yeah,
Oh,
Mount
yeah, it
Everest.
would ima see, I wouldn't even think of it, but yeah, a lot of
Uh,
people have died there.
I think of all kinds of things. So let's Mount Everest. Okay, there's so many stories that have been reported by the Sherpas who regard Everest as being this embodiment of the realm of gods. So many felt that climbing the mountain showed huge disrespect because it's sacred, right?
I've
It's
heard
led to
that. Yeah.
bad karma and
Yeah.
many restless spirits.
Sad.
One Sherpa reported that he encountered what he described as black shapes near the summit. He said that they were the ghosts of climbers who died on the mountain. He went on to say the shapes approached him and held out their hands, begging for something to eat, and he felt that these spirits were stuck until a proper blessing could be performed for their souls. Now, climber Frank Smythe, who attempted Everest several times in the 30s, offered his own tales. He described one. He encountered two. I guess he called it like presentations of sort. One was benign and seemed to really. He seemed to be he offered a cake because it looked like he was hungry. So he
Really?
offers him cake, I know. But later he encountered strange hovering objects, which said he looked like underdeveloped wings, while another had a beak or a spout like on
Oh.
a kettle. I think it was maybe hallucinating. He said
Well,
that it
yeah.
pulsated as they possessed some horrible quality of life. Now, some climbers said from other mountains have talked about experiences of hearing their friends or other climbers speak to them, where they realized that these people had already died. So they knew that, oh my God, this person is gone. So you hear a report of a voice coming through the camp radios while the listeners knew there was no one on the mountain at all.
One of my doctors climbed Mount Everest for charity for children.
See?
Yeah, it took years of
So-
training. I would absolutely die even at the base. I know I laughed at Wayne. I'm a Sherpa. I would die at the base of Mount Everest. So you'd find my ghosts there because it's too cold. It's just too cold even at the base. And there's different levels of climbing. So it would be interesting to see where those experiences happen because some people only do so many meters up.
For sure.
And yeah.
So do you think then, and everybody can chime in, do you think, I mean, I could see the Sherpas most certainly because they're used to it. They can go way up.
They're very healthy.
They're very conditioned to the environment and their belief system. They're very respectful. Again, I think the conditioning. So do you think people like Frank Smythe, for example, who attempted the mountain, do you think that maybe was he hallucinating that far up? Because he's describing things that, holy crud, man, that's like dimensional stuff right there.
Yeah. I think even just the oxygen deprivation could just cause your mind to open up and actually see what's there. It's not necessarily delusional as much as it is he was open in that moment because he was in a different level. I mean, that's mind numbing as you go up. Less oxygen, colder. It slows things down. When you slow things down, you can pick up with your third eye, so to speak. So I believe that this happened, and
That's
I believe
crazy like visions though.
Well, who knows what he
That's
did
like
in his life.
ayahuasca stuff right there.
Yeah, exactly. But what was his life like that warranted this type of vision? Right? So there's so many questions here. It's like, what kind of life did you lead before this? I'm not saying your past matters, but when it comes to haunting, your past matters.
It does. It does.
It doesn't matter how good you are now.
Hovering objects. I mean, I wonder if he was seeing
like what
that could be
happened to you
extraterrestrial too, right?
Yeah.
So
What happened to you as a child? What happened to you as a teenager? Was there any trauma growing up? Was there an experience with ET? There's a million questions to be had. Forget the criminal part of it, but there's a million questions to be had. And then I would be very interested in seeking out those images to see if they actually are real, what he sees, like the stuff that we see kind of stuff.
The lack of oxygen causes hallucinations. I agree.
It does, but did he hallucinate or did he see what was there because of the lack of oxygen? How many of us near death, we have a lack of oxygen when we have near deaths? We flatline, we have a lack of oxygen, and yet we're seeing things on the other side.
Right.
So who's to say that that didn't happen?
That's
I'm
very,
for
very
him
possible.
in this one. Actually, I'm really for him.
Yeah.
I'm in belief of this, and
Mhm.
if you're afraid of dying, you'd be surprised at what you can see at that height.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
So Adrian's got her comment, and then we'll go to Wayne's next comments.
Yes, of course.
Two
Adrian
good
says, "What
ones.
about the spirits of deceased elementals? Would that explain oddities in
In
looks?"
looks. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Anything's
I've
possible. I
never
mean,
seen a deceased elemental, so I don't know.
elementals can take on many different forms, but at the end of the day, they're still earth spirits, and people don't realize they're some people feel that they're pretty difficult to get along with. If you don't know how to work with them, they absolutely can be.
No.
In fact, like I was only versed on this. Bubbles and I started tweaking some things because I was only versed on this by an elderly, gifted man maybe 4 years ago. I've been doing this for 2 decades, and only 4 years ago, I got a
Yeah.
crash course on this is how you should deal with elementals. We're like, okay, and we tried. It's like, holy crap, it works. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's never too old, never too late to learn
No,
new
because there's
things
no
for
more
sure.
we don't have any more problems with them. Wayne says, "Hi, Wayne. Military does test on pilots to see how well they function as oxygen levels drop. Yeah, that's why some of us pass out at Mach 6 and Mach 7 right here. I'd probably pass out at Mach 3 because I'll pass out on a roller coaster. But yeah.
See, I like it. Do you know, like at the Hamilton Museum, Air Museum, you could go on different planes, and they
Yeah.
have one from like World War One's fully open at the top.
Yeah, it's about $3,000 now to fly on
No,
that
that's just for
plane.
Lancaster, like
Y
3,600 actually, but they have
Yeah,
one. These smaller ones was only a few $100, and they have ones all open at the top, just like you would
yeah.
just put your little freaking little helmet on, and they just
They
go
gave
and
they gave my
freaking
friend Corinne, the author, Corinne Champagne.
yeah,
She was there. She didn't tell me she was there because she didn't want to take a chance of getting sick, but she went
yeah.
there just for a couple of days, and her father was the gunner for that
I love
actual
it.
plane.
I
So
love it.
they gave her a private tour.
I love
Didn't
it.
they did something really beautiful to respect her
It
dad,
is. That's
and
really
they
nice.
even sat in the gunner and opened up the shield so that she could
Yeah,
see it, and she sat down in there and had a moment. I've been in
yeah,
that plane a few times,
yeah,
um, but yeah, it's $3,600 to go on it. They
yeah.
don't fly it as often as they used to,
Well,
though.
are you kidding? They're booked up solid into 2024 right
Yeah,
now.
but they're really, adamant about who goes
Oh,
in
they
there.
are, but I mean, we
Yeah,
see it flying around just like pretty much every other day. It's like, come on.
yeah.
In the
I don't
summer.
hear it that often.
It's in the summer mostly that it's more often, but it's very cool. Um, okay, so we're gonna go on to another destination for those of you guys who are who've been to Russia. I would love to go to Russia. I know
Mm,
it's probably taboo right now, but it's very historical.
it's very cold.
Architecturally speaking, it's just like a wonder in itself.
No interest.
You can't always, it is what it is. Let's put it that way. We actually have a really good listenership in Russia.
Yeah,
So
sorry guys, your country's beautiful, but it's freezing.
it is freezing.
It's just like Iceland.
But,
I love it, but I wouldn't go. Yeah.
but the Kremlin is said to be
I
haunted
know.
by Lenin and Stalin, among other historical figures. So they still have a hard time letting go of the roles. During a renovation, many underground rooms were found, which I think would be just absolutely cool. And as they dug further down, they found some of the best preserved remnants of early Moscow. Human bones were found in an old necropolis going back to the 12th, 13th, and 14th centuries. Holy crud. Apparitions of Nicholas II, who usually foreshadows impending disasters, has often been seen. Ivan the Terrible lurks about, and he's even spotted in the bell tower, and people have reported hearing his footsteps. The story goes that he cannot find peace, even as a ghost, because he killed his own son, Vladimir. Oh. Lenin has been seen and is reported that his spirit has been seen many times by people, even while he was alive, like he was having these OBEs. He
Mhm.
died 3 months after the last sighting. So after somebody sighted him the last time, um, he died. Yeah.
Wow.
I know, isn't that crazy?
I would imagine they'd have tons. I mean, they had such royalty and the beautiful Fabergé eggs
Yeah,
and everything. Russia is
sure.
beautiful. I
Mhm.
love the people of Russia. I love
Yeah,
the accent. I love the men. I'm just saying. But,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I find them so handsome and so like I don't know. But anyways, and
Yeah.
I'm like forget it.
We're off on
Anyway,
another topic.
it's like
So,
but
all right.
I have friends who are Russian in that, and I
Yeah.
love it. I think the history is phenomenal, and I can't imagine a place not being haunted in most of Russia. Just like I
Mhm,
feel the same about Vienna, and I feel the same about uh, oh my god, like the Netherlands and that.
mhm,
You're going to always find something, but I would think that the museums in Russia must be phenomenal.
mhm. Anywhere,
Phenomenal.
anywhere. Oh,
Yeah.
I've been so privileged to have traveled to so many amazing parts of the world, and I love the history, the culture, the architecture. The hauntings are just a bonus. I
Mhm.
mean, there's so much more to just take in, and you can feel the energy. I mean, you don't have to be super gifted to feel the energy of some places. They're just
No.
unbelievable. And one of those places would be Hawaii.
Oh yeah.
So here's a story of in Hawaii, and this one's been covered by a few people, but I'm surprised it hasn't been covered more because this is something apparently that gets seen a lot and experienced a lot. Bubbles, this is one I think we could do.
Hmm?
So I think this is one that we can actually do. Uh,
Oh,
I know.
like in
Uh,
person or no?
well, yeah, it's Oahu in
It's
Hawaii.
a long
The
flight.
amazing location
It's
is
so
rich
whiny.
in history, I know,
Yeah.
and home to an amazing legend that leaves thrill seekers and paranormal enthusiasts looking to check it out. Legend has it that the night marchers, whom are the spirits of ancient Hawaiian warriors, walk the streets carrying torches, moving to the beat of a primitive pounding drum. It has been said that they are en route either to or from battle, with clad helmets and cloaks, armed with archaic weapons. Others believe that they are high ranking ruler spirits being guided to places of importance. They
Wow.
roam through very specific areas and are recognized by their raised torches and chants. A list of these areas can be found easily online. There are many spirits in Oahu for those who want to seek them out. The choking ghosts of Waikiki apparently will attack you while you sleep.
Shocking.
Or perhaps you can visit one of the Hilton Hawaiian Village and have, yeah, the Hilton Hawaiian Village was called, and have an encounter with the girl in the red dress.
Oh,
I,
not white. Interesting.
not white. No, I know. Isn't that craziness though?
Yeah, it's a long flight. But if you're on the West Coast of North America, you've got a short flight to something quite interesting in the beach during the day. So that's a
Mhm.
win-win.
I think so. I think that's
That's a
pretty
win-win. If
cool.
I lived closer, I would definitely I think Hawaii is stunning.
I
Yeah.
thought it was a really great story. I'm just trying to get
Oh,
it back.
yeah.
It's
And
like
it's places you don't think of. They're vacation places,
mhm,
honeymoon places, and you don't think of it.
yeah.
That's why you pay attention to the Caribbean. I mean, there are so many hauntings in the Caribbean islands because of all the pirates. You have to remember that. And when they were moving from all the way east over, they had to stop somewhere. So there are a lot of haunted places and these little vacation islands that everybody goes to in the winter. And you're probably missing it and not realizing.
No, I agree with you. I also think that, um sorry, I'm just trying to get back there. I think that we tend to overlook a lot of the places that are, everybody goes to the big, well-known places.
Yeah.
I don't think they realize how much is actually going on around them that are very subtle.
Yeah, like think about if you're not one to fly on holidays or you can't fly on holidays and you want to take your family somewhere, you can take them anywhere across Canada or the United States and you
Right,
will find a haunted location. You
right,
just have to know where to look. And the funny
right.
thing is, when I was looking and doing some research for tonight's show, I was googling like most famous international haunted. Michelle and I even ended up on the same site with 52 places.
I know,
You
it's
know who
funny.
else is putting that information out there? Celebrity Cruises, Delta Airlines. These people are putting that information out there because there is a customer basis. There is a demand for it.
Mhm.
So when you're traveling, whether you're driving in an RV or you're flying, even within your own country,
Mhm.
Google search it, because they are doing this to bring people over by plane. So they're doing this for tourists, for economy.
Mhm.
And if you can just drive to it, chances are there's a lot of places beside and within your own home that you can do
Mhm.
on day trips. Not with little kids, of course. You know how I feel about that. But,
I know, I know, I know. Well,
just because they're so vulnerable.
why do you think people are so drawn to, like, even places like jails or
Huge hostels.
asylums?
Yes.
Asylums tend to be a whole mix of different, it's a blend of stuff,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I can't
Yeah.
tell you how many experiences I've had at the Ottawa jail, for example,
Yep.
um, went
Waverly
to,
Hills. Yeah.
St. Thomas Asylum. People don't realize back in the day how easy it was to commit a family member. Even a man who decided, "I don't want my family anymore, I wanna start over," and then just
Phone
get
call. Take my
yeah,
whole family.
that's
Yep.
it, and
Yep.
and it wasn't hard for hardcore criminals to plead insanity, and they throw them in there, these hardcore
Yeah.
criminals, with a lot of innocent people.
Well,
Petty theft, even children, if you had petty theft, they'd get thrown in these asylums instead of, like, a jail, and then they
especially
would throw you.
orphans. Yeah.
Yeah, hardcore criminals would get thrown in there. So now
Yeah.
you're getting all of this confusion, this pain, you're
Yeah.
get there are
Sick
things out there
people.
that feed off that type of energy,
Yeah.
and they get stuck, I mean, I've been to, a handful of asylums, and it's just
To
it's really
investigate. To
sad.
investigate. Let's make that clear.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
I've been to
Yeah,
a
yeah,
few
yeah,
asylums
yeah,
myself.
yeah.
I
Okay,
can say
okay,
that and get away with and say that, like, I've
okay.
been to a few asylums, meaning I've been there.
I
And
know.
and the sad thing is some of these asylums have actually been turned into secondary schools or primary schools. So
Or
think about all
apartments.
of that, or apartment,
Apartments
kind
are
of,
the best.
except just like The Exorcist boy. It was a boy, the
Mhm.
film that The Exorcist was based on. And look at that. They built apartments, but his is still locked up.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
I would think that would stay it would stain the land. I would think
Oh, they have
because I
experiences
got
all
to
over that building.
investigate an asylum that was being torn down
Oof.
to put in condominiums.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not going you just tear down a building, that's not going to change the energy. And sadly, some people don't even dig up the dead. They will literally
Build over it.
build over top of
Well,
them.
100 years is legal.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, 100 years is legal in some states. I know there's a funeral home
Mhm,
in Woodbridge, which is in Toronto, which,
mhm.
I mean, my brother was there. That's why I know about that, sadly.
Right.
But the family tried to sell, and they were trying to sell to someone to build condos over it. And there was a huge battle there, and it didn't happen. I don't
Mhm.
know quite the whole story. Maybe next time we do this, I'll have the story prepared, because I wasn't even thinking about that. But
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
this time the community won.
They're lucky because
Very much so. They probably
yeah,
changed hands. Somebody else probably bought it. I don't know. I haven't been there in a long time and don't want to be.
yeah,
But I can't imagine living in a condo that was built over a piece of property, and sometimes you have to incorporate that building into
mhm.
your building, depending on, like Hamilton, you've seen some churches incorporated into
Yes.
condos, and I'm like, you know what?
They
That's
keep
a
the
bad
facade
idea.
too, yeah.
You have to walk through it, and that's a bad idea. There's funeral homes, there's a lot of
Mhm.
sadness. Even airports see more tears than any church or hospital. whether
It's
they're
true.
tears of
Yeah.
joy or tears of
Mm.
sadness. There's so many people. How many thousands of people go through an
Yeah.
airport, especially like
Yeah.
Pearson, Philadelphia, JFK, you know, LAX, Nevada. Like there's tons and tons of people, Rome, all over
Mhm.
Europe.
Yeah.
That is tons of energy. So think
It's
about that next time you're sitting in an airport. You might just have a, you know, a paranormal experience right there.
right.
I know I did in Seattle.
See? And here's one of those examples, when Wayne was doing research for his book, Whitechapel Road. Do you wanna
Yeah.
get that? Yeah.
Wait, sure, absolutely. Thank you. Wayne says, now that'd be fun. In Whitechapel, the apartment block where Mary Jane Kelly was murdered has been torn down and new condominiums have been built right over that spot. Oh,
Yeah, that's a real
no.
historic,
So
yeah.
sad. That
Yeah,
whole block has seen so much blood. That
it's
whole
true.
community. That's
Yeah,
really sad.
yeah.
That's really sad. And Adrian says at UC. Sorry,
At
that's really
University of Connecticut, I believe,
oh,
right?
sorry, I can't see the letters. Okay.
I'm going to just take a guess at that, but
The
yeah.
former House of Imbeciles and
Yeah.
adjacent cafeteria became state construction certification and office space. I trained there. Extremely unnerving. Saw
Oh,
and felt
bet
horrible things.
you
Oh,
did.
so sorry.
Um, no, I haven't been to Alcatraz, but isn't it closed now, Amelia? Didn't you
Yeah,
say something about that?
closed
Yeah.
to the public. Yep.
Right, right. There we go.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we're talking about all of these places. Okay, sorry, we'll touch on this one first. What? Okay. Yeah,
Nights, high nights.
yeah.
Imagine Holocaust places there. I have a cousin who visited Auschwitz and the gas chambers. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I've asked him that.
Mhm.
And it's quite heavy, and he's not even into the paranormal. And it was quite heavy and very emotional. It's going places like that,
Mhm.
you'd have to have ice veins and literally evil to not feel anything
Yeah, for
there. I would
sure.
imagine, you know, a
For
lot of
sure.
people go because sadly their family members were killed there.
Mhm. It's history, and
And
some people, cherish a history, and they want, to present their children and say, "This happened. This is here. This is" it's important. The history is important, and, a lot of
don't
people
ignore
try to
it. Yeah.
erase it. Don't ignore it.
It'll
Just
come
learn.
back. If you close it, it
Exactly.
always comes back. And if you don't believe me,
Yeah.
research everything that happened before the Holocaust.
Mhm.
Research other genocides.
Sure.
Research
It all
all of
comes
them.
back.
There's many of them,
Mhm.
including Cambodia. There was a genocide that was so severe that this entire part of the island is haunted and haunted with evil things, not small little things.
All
There
you
are
have to
people
do
that
is
can't even live there.
look at the genocide in South America,
Yeah.
in Canadian people. Look at the genocide of the North American indigenous people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of genocide, Some of them don't get the same attention, but this
No.
is it does. It does repeat itself. And yes, the Whitechapel in London. That's right.
Yes.
Okay, so let's touch on a place that's free to go. Let's talk about haunted forests, not just necessarily Hoyabatsu,
And
but
parks.
there's a lot of other really cool. Let's talk
Yes.
about the suicide forest. What?
Thank you, Ron. No, that's what I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's the place.
The Khmer Rouge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Very haunted.
yeah. Um, okay, let's talk about um, the Japanese, which suicide forest, which I can't pronounce. Ayakigahara, I think. I probably butchered that. Anyway, it sits at the base of Mount Fuji. This used to be considered the most haunted forest in the world, but somehow Hoyabatsu in Romania, somewhere in the last decade or so, just took reign of that one. So the Japanese mythology has long associated this dense leafy woodland with
Mhm.
many historical links between the forest and demons from Japanese folklore. It's believed to be littered with demons. It's the most popular place for suicides in Japan. It is sometimes referred to as the Sea of Trees. Explorers feel prompted to drop items along the way, much like Hansel and Gretel, to ensure they find their way back.
Yeah.
Many insists that those who took their own lives have stayed on to haunt the forest. Well, I think that's mindset. We'll talk about that in a minute. It is said that even if you don't believe in ghosts, you are likely to be spooked by everyday items that litter the forest floor, left behind by those who became lost there or those who never intended to leave. Park rangers check the forest on a daily basis looking for the lost and removing the dead. Reports tell of a very malicious force in the forest. Some suggest that it's residual misery of those who came to take their lives as success. There are many other tales which describe harrowing howls and moving shadows. So let's talk suicide, Bubbles.
Mm. That one, I know people have gone into that forest and not come out, and they've never found bodies because it's really hard to find them. So you don't know if they've killed themselves, if they met, with a horrible fate, or if they just got lost and eventually died of starvation. That forest, there's been films made about it, documentaries made about it.
Yeah.
Suicide. You have to wonder, did they go there with that intention, or did it happen once they were there? Did something create that push to make them want to commit suicide? That's a big question for me. What about you?
I believe, again, that mindset is everything. People, this is what I try to explain to people that think everything's going to end if you end your life. Sometimes it does. I mean, once in a while, you will see spirits that move on quite peacefully. But a lot of times, let's face it, if you're in that frame of mind when you take your own life, just because the physical stops working, the essence is still somehow, many times, in that frame of mind. And this is just based on spirits that I've come across in all these years. We come across them often. Sometimes they pass with attachments of some sort. And the idea is suicide. Your essence is often considered to be the prize. So that doesn't just stop either, because the body ceases to exist, because the attachment wants the essence and remains behind with the essence, the trophy, right? So we've seen that as well. I mean, I've got EVPs of talking with, and again, we talked about EVPs last night. I know, but I do have EVPs, and you're speaking with a human spirit, and the family recognizes the voice. Not that it can't be a mimic, but then you get this big growl that comes through, and the spirit makes reference to that individual entity being there with it. So I think suicide is obviously never a good thing, and it just does not solve the issue even after the fact in many cases, but not all. I want to really reiterate that.
Suicide is about ending the pain. It's not about ending your life. And as someone who has gone through the attempt of that before, younger in my life, I understand it. And when we do have spirits who have committed suicide, I often feel pulled to them. And I can tell you something from experience, and something from their experiences that have been shared with me. And I honor this, and I'm so grateful because I can keep passing it on. And I really believe that's why I'm told this. Everyone who has jumped or pulled the trigger has said to me in the last few seconds, I wish I didn't do it. Once so they've pulled, and especially people who jump off of bridges or buildings, they'll say once they let go,
they realize
that it just shouldn't have happened. But and then it's hard because you have to have that conversation. Is this about a written story of your life? Is this the way you're supposed to go? Is this an experience you're supposed to have? Or there's so many questions. And the thing with suicide is it leaves the family behind never the same again.
No, for sure.
But it's definitely ending the pain, and some people it's mental pain, and some people it's physical. They're suffering through cancers or illnesses that are uncurable and untreatable. And, I feel for them, and I understand to some degree, not all, because obviously I didn't do it. But when you're saved from it, yeah,
Yeah.
it is a thing of, and being raised Roman Catholic, I used to think, shit, like, am I going to go to hell because I tried?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that thing, it comes back to that. And that's why they're often stuck, because they believe that they won't be accepted and they can't ascend. So they get another thing stuck here. There's like 4 shows in that one story.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I'm like Knight says, I won't go there because I have had suicide thoughts before and I just don't want to deal with that. I would be the same way. I would never be able to enter that forest because of what I've done in my past.
Right.
I'd be afraid of something. I honestly believe, I'm not even going to say I think, or I'd be afraid. I believe that something creates that.
I agree.
And plays with it.
We're going to do a bit of an early station ID. Before you get started, I'm going to play. I have to play some
Oh,
clips.
yes. Okay.
And I thought it would be fun to play a couple of our Folgers clips. And I want to put this out there to everybody. If you're a paranormal team, or you've just got a company or something you want to just sort of advertise with us. Well, not so much companies. You'd almost have to sponsor with that. But we have a lot of researchers and other hosts and guests. A lot of our guests get right into doing these Folgers commercials, because it goes in front of millions of people listening, and it sits in the archives forever. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples, and we're going to get just a little bit of promo, and then Amelia's going to go full on. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. Dolly in the chat room. Yeah, here we go.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Wasn't that easy?
I love her.
All right, here we've got another one. Yeah.
Hi, Renee Dykes here. I'm with Paranormal Adventure Events. Also, my team is Tennessee Night Stalker Paranormal Intrigue. And as people know, when you go on ghost hunt, you've got to have the go juice. And what's scarier than the mug that I have right here is not having this right here. I even carry my own K-Cup coffee maker with me, a little mini, when I go on ghost hunts around other states. Yeah, that's how dedicated I am to Folgers. Thank you.
See, we got all kinds of people. I've only played 2, but this is going to stay in archives forever. But Folgers is our sponsor. Therefore, Folgers has to be in your advertising. If it's not, it doesn't count. And try to keep it at about 30, 40 seconds. If it goes over a smidge, we'll ride it out. But try to keep it in that time frame.
Yeah,
so
you can see.
Right, we're gonna play. We're gonna play one of our podcast awards nominee advertisements as well. Here we go.
All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. Yes, it is that time of year again. There's a show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards: UFO Undercover, in the category of entertainment. UFO Undercover brings you some of the most revealing and current research that is being done with respect to alien abductions and contact. Host Joe Montaldo has been an abduction researcher for over 35 years and is uniquely qualified to bring you live interviews with some of the most well-known researchers in ufology. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate UFO Undercover in the category of entertainment. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and get out and vote now.
To vote.
It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards: Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast, in 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. For 4 years, the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast has provided advice and tips from international best-selling authors, world-class artists, contest judges and winners, and industry professionals, based on the world-famous Writers of the Future contest created in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard to help the aspiring writer and artist, no matter their age. It is dedicated to the future of storytelling and art by showing that it is never too late to start, and those who make it are those who never give up. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in any or all of the 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and go out and vote now.
Thank you. I forgot about the second one. Sorry. I'm like,
right.
wait, aren't they all attached? Okay. Sorry about that. You are
okay.
listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle Desrochers and Amelia Pisano, coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans on 105.3 and 107.7 FM radio. We are currently streaming live on Roku. So if you're watching us for the first time, thank you for joining us. And please share us up with your friends. Let them know we're here. We're also in archives if you missed the show or you're just joining us. Our show tonight, discussion, is part 2. That means 2. We're French. What can I tell you? That means 2. Part 2 of Haunted Destinations. So if you're just tuning in and you're sad that you've missed the first half of it, don't worry about it, because you can stream our archives on any platform you normally use. And I mean any. There's over 200 of them. Don't forget to share us with your friends. I'm going to keep saying that. And if you're a regular, you know that. A huge thank you to the amazing people at Folgers Coffee for sponsoring our show and continuing to sponsor our show right from day one into the following year. We are so grateful. Thank you so much, Folgers. We love you. A shout out and thank you for our intro and outro to Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, Justin Snicker, award-winning composer and musician. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp, and find him on any streaming platform that you use. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram, and you'll see that he's dropping clips of his music so you can listen to it ahead of time before purchasing. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, and make sure you share us. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Also, big thank you to our artist.
Oh my God. Yes, I don't have that information. Would you mind, Michelle? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Courtesy of horror illustrator Steve McGinnis, who is the artist behind all of our banners and all of, you name it, banners, logos, anything. He takes care of all of our artwork. So we're so very appreciative of his talent. So thank you, Steve. Always appreciate it.
I remember
Also
Steve.
up at the moment is the contact. So if you guys want to be on the show, or you want to see a topic, you want to see a guest, this is how you contact us. There's something you want to see, just message us. Right now we're having there's a big blitz going on, and a lot of people are being scheduled right now as we get into the second half of the year. We're booked pretty much until the end of the year, but we've got gaps pretty much in every month that are currently being filmed. So usually if somebody says, I'd really like to see this, or have you considered this person, we do our very best to reach out to them and bring them on. So food for thought, everybody, food for thought. Now we get back to our discussion. It's true. Preston was on the Writers of the Future. He did win.
Preston Dennett. Yeah, he's the host here on the network.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the Black Forest in Germany. A lot of people are really curious about this. I personally am. I look for pieces that I can buy made from trees in the Black Forest. I'd like Wayne to come back.
You can go into our archive if you missed the first couple times.
Yeah, Wayne's been on 2 or 3 times actually, and we will bring him on again. We can bring him
absolutely.
on Q&As, like what we did the last time. He's a lot of fun.
Yes.
And you get him right in chat. It's pretty much like Comedy Central in there. So the Black Forest in Germany is a dense forest of pine trees that are so tightly packed, light hardly ever gets in. The Brothers Grimm chose the Black Forest as a fairy tale backdrop due to its forbidding dark appeal. It is tied to tales of werewolves, headless horsemen, witches, magicians, and the devil himself. There are even tales that are said to be kind-hearted, like kind-hearted dwarves in the forest. They're like gnomes. And it's like, I don't know, but okay. Anyway, so there are tales of hauntings, killings, and dark magic. Visitors come also in hopes of spotting the ghost of kings and queens. So near the now vanished village of Wolmerspur, a headless horseman takes his ride once a year on a great white steed. Iber Castle is home to beautiful ladies visible only at night and a legendary wine cellar that no one has ever been able to find. There are also tales of maiden nymphs who dwell in the murky waters of Momel Lake, sharing space with an undead king who is reputed to kidnap women and take them to his underwater lair. That sounds like a little bit dire.
It's a scary place. I mean, they made stories about it, and Wayne Mallow says I used the treescape in book 3 of the Vampire Tales.
Yep, it's a bit.
I could see why.
Yes.
Yeah. It's incredible, and it just goes to show you, even if you're a skeptic, how fearful people are of the darkness and the unknown.
It's true. It's true. But a lot of this is like, I love the folklore behind some of these really ancient places. It's just, I don't know. Is it the allure? Because we have places on this side of the world that's like really haunted. And I mean, I've had incredible experiences just in everyday homes.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But there's something about the allure of these old places. I know in book 4, I'm pretty sure you used Hoyabatsu Forest, though, didn't you, Wayne? I'm pretty sure. Hold on here.
I like the Black Forest Gatto as well, Knights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one personally. Knight says that Wayne Mellows, I really liked your near-death story. You should see if someone might illustrate it. Just a thought. That would be one heck of a book.
By listening to him tell it.
Yeah, and Janet Martin. Hi, Janet. Janet says, I've been there, didn't see anything.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, absolutely. I think, the most popular, of course, is Hoyabatsu, but there are so many others. And I mean, I won't go through them all, but we've got Ron from Scotland in tonight. So why don't we talk about, you're a trooper, Ron, just saying, because it's
my gosh. Yes.
Like, what is it, like 3:30 in the morning over there right now?
I love Scotland. Yeah.
I know, right?
Favorite accent ever.
I love it. I love it too. I'd love to get back. I never wanted to leave it. Okay, so Blair-Dam Forest and Scotland. This one's for you, Ron. Back in Victorian times, it was the home of a coal mine in a mining town. Visitors here reported strange phenomena, such as feeling unexplainably agitated and noticing that their pets seemed unsettled and spooked. In 2008, the Wilson family, who lived nearby, decided to take a hike and have a picnic in the woods. Oh, I'd do that. That's good.
Yeah, you would.
They took several photos, and after they left and examined it, see, that's not examining the photo thing there again. One picture captured their attention. While looking at a photo that they had taken of their children, they could see a sinister-looking Victorian clothing-clad figure, which was visible and lurking among the trees. Well, shit. Let's be like,
I'd be happy that I saw that after I left rather than like now. That's the thing too. When you take pictures with your phone and you go to look back, you're going to see that while you're still standing there. So be prepared for whatever can come your way. Is all I'm saying. Yeah. I think any forest would be fun to go through. I feel really at peace when I'm in a forest. I don't know so much about a haunted place like Michelle did, the one in Romania, and that I wouldn't sit there and take a nap on, unlike my bestie over here who took a nap and ate there. I'd probably run in and out. I've already told her that if we ever went, I'd be standing on the the edges, simply because I'm scared. Period. Just scared, frightened. But the one in Germany, for some reason, I would love to go through.
Would you really?
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think I often wonder if I have a hard time getting you someplace.
You'd have
wonder
a
if I
hard
have
time getting me in
get.
there. I have hiking boots.
I don't
I
want to
don't
go
always
there.
wear stilettos.
It's like, all right,
I
all
have
right, all right.
hiking boots. Damn it, I have motorcycle boots. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
I would like to, if it's not too far off in distance. I think with the one in Romania is because I know the story and I know you've been there and
Mm,
I know what happened and what followed.
mhm.
I think that's why I'm so afraid of it. It's because this, we don't know anyone.
Well,
It
no,
would
I
be a
mean
first
it's
for us, and maybe
yeah.
nothing will happen like Janet said, like, maybe it is just stories told over and over. Maybe you have to go deeper in, Janet. Did you go, like, right in there? I would have to do a lot of research on it first
I
and
can
see.
only attest to Hoyabatsu because realistically, like I've not been to all these other places, so I don't know, right? Like,
I I'm with you on that one, but I believe the reason why the Japanese forest is so well known is because they
mm,
actually made a horror film on it. And
well,
that's why if they do one on the Hoyabachu forest,
Hoyabatsu's
it
been
would blow up.
covered.
But
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
like,
it's been
in
covered
the
many times.
actual horror genre,
Yeah.
it would blow up. It would blow up. Their tourism would blow up. Seriously.
Hoyabatsu is a place that is
Hikers in the Black Forest. But did you go deep, Janet? Like, how far did you go? Did
mm,
you, like, is there a spot in the forest that there are more sightings than others? Like, I would imagine there'd be a lot of ET sightings there.
there are. I've covered it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Right?
covered it.
Because of
Yeah.
how desolate.
All of them. Hoyabatsu is loaded with they all are, but the
Hoyabachu's not living.
people have
I'm sorry, that
they've
place is dead.
captured
Yeah.
lights and ship. They captured ship
Yes. But I
photos
mean,
of
in
ships there.
Germany, I wonder if, the
They
same
would because
kind
it's
of.
not that far from Romania. They're almost
Yeah,
in
that's
fact,
right.
if you
That's
go to
right.
different communities like Brasov in Romania, it's a German community. Like it's right there. So
Yes.
I believe it is all
I
there,
forgot that.
and a lot of these places have their own Bermuda Triangles. I mean, Hoyabatsu does. It has its own Bermuda Triangle.
See?
There's a story of a little girl who disappeared in the forest. She was 5.
Yeah, I'm
5 years
good.
later, shows up still 5 with her same little ratty doll, but she was not right. Something was
Isn't
wrong.
that
There's a portal
crazy?
there for sure because
Yeah.
I heard it. I spent mega hours in that place from like afternoon into wee hours, and you could hear that droning humming sound
Yeah.
you know and there's been it was recognized as being haunted when a military technician photographed what he claimed was a UFO that appeared in part of the forest as a clearing in 1968. There are 2 clearings in that forest. They're big circles. There's nothing really,
Huh.
the grass and weeds. Like that's all
Yeah.
that grows there. There's no trees. There's nothing. They're perfectly round. It's crazy. Crooked trees go out throughout the entire forest, and they once stood straight up. So what caused them to go all wrenched and crooked and things like that? That
Right?
doesn't make a lot of sense
Nope.
either.
Nope.
You
Death,
know,
radiation.
yeah, so the shepherd who this was named after, it's called the Shepherd's Forest, is what Hoyabatsu actually means. It's located in Transylvania region of Cluj-Napoca, and amazing place. The crooked trees, what else we have to cover? Circulars, nothing grows in a circle. The forest itself, aside from insects, no, that's true. No birds, no small wildlife at all. Like there isn't. You can't hear
Huh.
birds. We walked in there. Aside from that freaking droning sound, we could not hear anything at
Yeah.
all.
And Dolly said,
So
plasma heat. That could be why it's dead.
there you go. And that would make sense. And
Yep.
it's believed to be under a no-fly zone, which we didn't know when we went in there. People report being sick, filled with high levels of anxiety and nausea. Absolutely. I did not experience that,
That
but
comes from fear. The anxiety would
absolutely.
give you nausea. Anxiety does that on a norm.
People
Yeah.
have broken into rashes, headaches, burn marks, scratches. That was captured on television, somebody being attacked and scratched. Many people have heard ghostly voices. Yes. They've seen lights above and through the trees in the forest. Yes. The droning sound. Yes. I'm glad I wasn't the only one that heard that. People reported physically attacked. Yes. Locals have seen lights. Yes. The forest has also shown signs of magnetic anomalies, fluctuations of electromagnetic field in and out for sound emissions. So I think it's pretty cool. That explains a lot. But this shepherd and his entire herd
Mm,
disappeared.
yeah,
You
that's
know,
tragic.
so
Well,
fairies. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Fairies
oh,
for sure.
absolutely. Fairies, you can
You
find
know,
fairies in your own backyard if you look well enough.
it's true.
Just further up, Janet said that she saw a cyclone fence with she saw a big cyclone fence area with small deer in it to a ski lift. I'm guessing that there is nothing there. You just validated it for me.
Yeah.
If you went there and there's lots of hikers. Yeah.
hmm Ron wants to know.
Oh, Ron. Hello, Ron. Did
No,
you live in Scotland at one time, Michelle, or were you a ghost hunting on a vacation?
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't have enough time there actually, but I've got standing invites, from, 2 or 3 different friends. So one day I will take them back up on it when my schedule slows down, and that's not happening anytime soon.
You need a good month in Scotland. Not just to mention your weather is so upside down there. And a lot of castles and amazing buildings are right on the shore. So yeah,
Yes.
you need good you need good weather. So you need a good month.
Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
nice?
I would love to. I think I'd come back a whole different person if I went to Scotland for even 2 weeks. I think I'd come back so well rested and connected and grounded because I
It's
do feel
beautiful
like I had
there.
a
It
lifetime
is.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is beautiful for sure. It really is. There's
Yeah.
not one part of Scotland that I didn't love.
Yeah, slowing down.
Slowing down.
Wayne, we'll
Yeah,
send
I
you to
know.
Scotland, Wayne.
Nobody slows down in our world. That's just not a thing.
Yeah, but
So do we want to talk about haunted places in Canada?
sure. Well,
Okay, so
every
go.
jail.
Yeah, you go.
Niagara Falls.
Ottawa jail. Well, I've had crazy experiences there.
Yeah.
In fact, even captured photos the last time I was there. And it was right near where they used to do the hangings. And you could hear stuff going up and down the halls because you can actually stay there and spend the night there. And I started going around taking pictures, and it was pitch dark except for where they hung people. It was bright red. There was no lights on. And I
Mm,
experimented with several photos, and that was the only place. And you could see the silhouette of something. It was insane.
I would imagine any jail, prison,
Mm,
even new, would have all kinds of activity. Just
sure.
the energy that goes on there, especially the maximum securities. You're talking about some real psychopaths. They're in there for murder
Oh
and
yes. Yeah.
serial killing, rapists, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Child molesters, that kind of level of psychopathy is just it's mind blowing. So I would imagine.
People don't, they go, I don't know what people expect. They want an experience, but they don't want an experience. The first time I was there, I watched a woman go into the solitary confinement cell. Big, thick, heavy door on it. I said, I don't think you should go in there because there was a guy in there. Like, I don't think you should go in there. And she goes, I'm going in. I'm like, you might run into some trouble. Like, I was really trying to be kind because it was like an inmate, right?
Mhm.
And it didn't feel pleasant. And she goes, what do you know? I says, absolutely freaking nothing. So anyway, she went in there. The door this thick. I mean, it's one of those big jail doors. It slammed shut. She was in there screaming.
Yeah.
The tour guide was trying to get this open. It would not. It was an hour before that thing just opened. And now, I mean, judged by the last time I was there, which was years later, that door isn't even on there anymore. That was it. I'm just like, somebody would warn me. My butt would not have been in that cell. Just saying. So something, obviously, whatever it
Mhm.
was, it felt, like an inmate who probably wasn't a kind guy, might have had, who knows, maybe he had something attached to him, probably it was there, and he was that angry. There are many reasons, why people get incarcerated. Sometimes it's, not necessarily of their own doing. But
No, I
in
know.
this case, I'm just like, I don't think, so we witnessed this. We witnessed this happening, and they don't talk about it too much, but that door is off the cell now.
Yeah, this probably happens so often they've had enough. But I bet you they still hear it bang.
Bet you they do. Oh boy, I bet you there were everything. The walls and halls were ringing that day. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
have to physically be there for you to hear it.
no, but I mean, it would have been terrifying being. She was caught in there for darn near an hour.
I heard that. I'd be petrified myself. I think I'd have lost my wits at that point because you can't see what you're fighting. So
No,
yeah,
no, and
talk
she
about asking for an
just
experience.
yeah. But all of a sudden, I just went. It was probably a good 45 minutes to 60 minutes. We were just like, oh my gosh. They cleared people away and stuff like that, and they just tried to keep it calm. And
Oh
it was
yeah.
crazy. It was
Some
just, yeah, I
sorry.
know.
Sometimes when you walk into a prison like that and there's maximum security, like I said, you've got rapists and things like that. Sometimes if they're violent offenders of women, like they've hurt women
Yeah,
or killed women, you could simply look like a victim or fit that profile of their serial killing. There's a profile, there's always a signature to serial killers. There's always a look, they
mhm,
like blondes or they're very
mm.
specific. And you're at the wrong place at the wrong time when God forbid stuff like this happens. It's horrible. It's horrifying. But there comes a rhyme and a reason with it. So if you fit that profile and you're
Mm.
walking into a haunted prison, chances are you're going to have an experience.
A lot of female investigators have those experiences.
Yes.
They use themselves as trigger objects for that. Yeah,
Careful
careful
with
with
that.
that.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, if you're
careful with that.
seasoned, you know what you're doing, have at her. But I
Yeah, but
personally, I just feel that, want to go and have that experience. Some places will deliver that experience more than others. But if you're going to start off with going to these type of places, I do suggest, going to public investigations or public tours. Ron mentions the Eastern State
yeah,
Penitentiary. Yeah, there's a lot of these locations
yeah.
that you can go in and you can do a tour. You can go in and do an investigation. Try going on ghost tours. Just walking ghost tours, learning the history and all of the haunted tales and different areas. I've met people who they go all over the world and they just do ghost tours at different places that they go, and it's a good it's an environment where you're among other people who have the same interests, and that might also amp up an experience, but it's also controlled to a degree. You're not wandering around aimlessly trying to figure out, what's going on. Is this haunted? Should I be looking for? I think it's a great way to start, you know. But let's talk about people who, you can't travel. You know, you can't we can't travel. Maybe we can't afford to. Maybe you don't have the schedule. This doesn't allow it. You have a family. You don't want to take them to places like that necessarily. So just look for something local, that
Mm.
you can go and maybe have an experience. I believe everything is haunted to a degree. And when I say haunted, it's just everything has a past. Everything has a history, even the land, So go take a walk. I've seen people just ending up with some of the best paranormal experiences just by walking down a street near a museum. Seriously. Okay, we're going to get to some of the comments.
Yeah, Dolly says army bases with a
Yeah,
lot of history are haunted as well. Yes, Fort York, if you're
yeah.
in Ontario, is very active. Um, Adrian asks, what about haunted cars? Ever encounter one?
I personally have
Haunted
not.
cars, yeah. I haven't
Yeah,
encountered one, but they do happen. I've heard
yeah,
stories. I've seen them on television as well.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah. If you're
Christine.
buying something from police auction, I'd be a little leery.
Hmm,
I'm just
I
saying
mean,
because I did see that story on television where he bought this old Camaro and the
mhm.
guy was gunned down in it.
Yeah,
And did you see
Wayne
that? And
has an experience about that too.
there you go. See, it does happen.
A haunted hearse.
Yeah, well,
I know.
a hearse, yeah, a Camaro, I was shocked, but yeah, he was gunned
Yeah.
down and he loved his car, so he didn't wanna give up his car, and he would actually start the car,
Oh, I
his
saw
Spirit.
that.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes, I saw that. I
I saw
saw
that
that.
and I was like, "Holy
That's
crap." Yeah, of
crazy.
course,
Yeah.
anything can be haunted, and that includes a
Yes.
vehicle.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, Adrian remembers that story as well, right? Like,
Yes.
it's just crazy.
Uh,
Um,
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, oh, what about oh yeah, Knights asks, what about ancient cities that have been destroyed?
Well, things with ancient cities is that they've been destroyed and other cities get built. Like throughout, the ancient world, it's city built on top of city on the ashes of the other cities. There are places you can go, which I find fantastically amazing. And I did this when I was in Scotland too, by the way, is that you can go underground. You can be walking in a city street and then you just go down, like where we would have subways. There you go down and you are on the street of some ancient town. Then you
Mm,
hear about all these stories about people who go down and find this door in their basement or behind something, and they break through it, and they have like what a freaking like cavern system, and I mean it's insanity. I would love that. I would totally love that. The Edinburgh tunnels. Yeah, we went down into the vaults. That was kind of cool, actually. So, oh yeah, the haunted funeral. Wayne, can you? I don't know. We don't have a lot of time, but can you type out the story really quick?
and Dolly says Bonnie and Clyde's car because they were gunned down in Florida near Tampa.
Yeah.
I would believe that, and they say
Absolutely. Yeah.
that James Dean's car is haunted, if
Oh,
that has any merit.
yeah.
Um,
But
you know,
even pieces of that car have surfaced and brought death or bad luck to.
I don't know if that's manifested by fans or if
See,
it's
it's one
true.
of those Telpa things again. That just.
Yeah, because he was a speed lover. He
Mhm,
loved cars, he loved speed. He
mhm,
didn't really like being around people.
right.
If you watch his story, you'll see a different side of it. I believe Robert Pattinson played him, and it was incredible, incredible film, amazing
Mhm,
film, well done.
mhm.
And it just doesn't fit with his lifestyle to have done that. I think
Yeah,
it's made more of because he was this Hollywood icon,
maybe.
and people keep that spirit alive, just like they do
Mhm.
with Marilyn Monroe.
I think, see, this is what I was saying earlier. Do you think it's possible that some of these locations are, because there's so many little benign places that are
Yeah.
through the roof crazy, but I think we get drawn to tragedy or we get drawn to certain types of locations and we just tend to keep that going, just with our own beliefs, or maybe we want that experience so desperately that we project that outwards, and
Yeah.
so now that's building on
And when
top
you
of
have
itself.
thousands and thousands of people that want to keep Elvis alive, Michael Jackson alive, Marilyn Monroe alive,
Oh,
James
yeah.
Dean, they want
Yeah,
to keep that
yeah.
story alive. They want to keep that legend alive. I believe
Mm,
that, yeah, they can be manifesting some of this stuff. And so,
mhm.
I do believe in that.
Sure.
Wayne says it was a 65 hearse.
I know that hurts.
I always felt the presence of a man. I could actually draw him. I had his thoughts impressed on me that he was the driver and thought of it as his car. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, and it goes on. I don't know if he's still typing the rest of
Probably
the
because he's only
story.
allowed so he knows
It's
exactly how many
true.
letters he's allowed to type
Yes, okay,
because this
I'll give you a
happens.
few minutes to just try to
Yeah,
finish that up, and
and
Ron says.
Ron says in Scotland there are a lot of gray or green lady ghosts and haunted castles. I love that.
There's that and the lady in white. Oh my gosh, there's so many stories. See, what is that now? There's so many stories of the lady in white, and it's
That
a
one's
lot of the
huge.
same type of stories.
Yeah.
Jumped to her death, her groom didn't show up, she was jilted, or
No, don't
the
apologize,
cheating
Ron.
husband, or
Yeah,
yeah,
don't apologize.
yeah, that's what you're supposed to do, Ron. It's
Yeah.
okay. We don't
That's
mind at all.
That's why
Yeah.
we have these nights. We're actually doing
Yeah.
that for a reason. Yeah, Paul Francis and I did a segment on this way, way, way back, and
Mhm.
he talked about the lady in white and the stories in Ireland and how they went across Europe, all
Right.
the way into Denmark. Like it's amazing. I wonder if the story is a white lady because they see the lady as a mist, or they see the lady as a virgin, and that's why the story is told that way.
That could
because
very well
often they're
be.
newly wedded brides that haven't even gone to the party, like that kind of thing. And I don't
Right.
know. I find them all fascinating and romantic. I love them. I
Yeah,
would love to see a lady in white,
right.
walking
Well,
across
the cemeteries are
a
littered with
field.
them. You might hit on one. Here's the
Yeah.
second half of Wayne's
Okay,
story.
second half of Wayne's story. So this person would actually zap the energy of any passenger in the car. I ended up smudging the car, and that was the end of him. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
happy
he
for you.
scolded him. I think you gave him opportunity. You keep this up, that's going to be it. This is my car. And he continued on. He got a little bit
So he,
salty, and
yeah,
yeah, Wayne took care of that, no problem.
good
So
for
it's like,
you, Wayne.
I know, right?
You don't often
So,
hear that. Sometimes people sell vehicles because they can't deal with it anymore.
mhm,
But
yeah,
that's a crazy story. So it was the driver. See, you say
yeah,
hearse, and I'm automatically thinking a dead body,
yeah. No, not
right?
at all. No, I
So
know, I
yeah.
know.
Oh, ladies in white with long black hair. Uh-oh.
With the banshees, it's true. I
And a long white
know.
dress, Benji's
It's
and Island.
true.
Oh no, Ron. I've got naturally black hair. I'm just saying. Uh,
I see you somewhere along a long white dress, screaming
oh, if you
away at
see
something.
me in the summer in a white dress this year, you smack me.
That's it.
Wow. Wake me up. And Wayne says, part 3, yes, I told him he had choices. When I told
Yeah.
him I'd oust him, he responded, try me.
Oh, bye-bye. That'd be the end of it.
Oh, wow.
I know.
And then I'm waiting for part 4. And then
And then gone.
Knight says we
Press
have a
the button.
ghost.
Yeah.
We have a ghost of a witch in our graveyard in town that comes out on some nights. Wow. I wonder if that it has meaning to any rituals or any holidays in that type of practice. I wonder.
Possibly. Yeah.
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 Oh, Knight says she wears black.
Mm.
That's associated with.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Chris says, wasn't James Dean car curse? I think that was Hollywood keeping him alive, to be honest with you. I don't think it was cursed. I think James took the road a little too fast and lost control of his car.
Yeah,
That was a
I think
Porsche.
after the fact, it could just be that he hung out with the car. Wayne says it was the driver of the car. Brush cut, thick rimmed glasses, white shirt, black tie. Yeah.
Wow.
So, well, guys, we've had a lot of fun tonight, and we're going to try to give you guys more than one of these a month, because we're getting a lot of people who enjoy them a lot. Our just discussions, because it's just us and you, and we do have a lot of fun doing them, but we book up so far ahead, and we have so many amazing guests that are never been on, that are coming on, and but we're going to try. We're absolutely going to try. But we're at the end of the show again. Boo! I know. We had a good time, and we thank all of you guys for chiming in with us and hanging out with us. It's always a lot of fun. We want to have a big thank you, of course, to our Folgers family. So thank you. We appreciate you so very much. Big thank you to Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Sick, the Sonic Surgeon. Big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind all of our banners and logos here. Remember, if you enjoy the channel, you enjoy the content, please just support us by subscribing, liking, and passing it around. We appreciate you guys very, very much. Next week, Wednesday, we are welcoming for the very first time a fellow host of 2 different shows here on the UPRN network. There's the Angel Rock with Laura Lee Potvin, and we've got Think at the Foot of the Bed, which is on just before our show, actually, on Thursday nights, guys, with David Hansel. And it's a great show. Check them out. But she's going to be joining us, and she's going to be discussing a really traumatic paranormal experience. It's been caught. I think it was on Paranormal Survivor. In fact, I remember commenting on it. It was just weird how Now we work together. It's just bizarre because at the time it most certainly was not the case. But she's going to talk about that, and she's going to talk about how it affected her life moving forward. And it's a really great story. So hopefully you will tune in and hear it all. Thursday night, guys, is going to be a replay. But it is going to be an amazing replay with Ron Moorhead. He talks about quantum Bigfoot, possible UFO connections, and more. Of course, we'll try to man the chat. But it's one of our favorite shows that we have done, and Ron is just a spectacular person and very well researched. And we thought we would play it again and share it with you guys again. So please tune into that. So with that being said, it's that time, guys. We've got to play a couple more promos because the podcast tour is very important. All right. So have a great weekend. We will see you next week, and we will leave you with these guys.
Hey there. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The News on the Flip Side, in the category of politics and news. News on the Flip Side is a much different news and political program which is not deemed as opinion news. Listen as Joe Montaldo brings to you just the facts from trusted sources which will allow you, the people, to make up your own minds on the various stories being reported on. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate News on the Flip Side in the category of politics and news. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now. All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The Outer Realm in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. The Outer Realm is a very popular show hosted by Michelle Desrochers and Amelia Pisano, which boasts millions of listeners each week who are well known for and have been complimented on their very laid-back, roundtable style of interviewing. Together, this dynamic duo brings you the best of the best with guests from around the world who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, esoteric, and other areas of high strangeness, and more. So go to podcastawards.com to nominate The Outer Realm in the category Best Female Hosted Podcast. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.